Hello, today I'm going to talk to you about three different events in the January of 1988. The first being a New York Times story about the United States and Canada's free trade agreement that was signed into law on January 3rd of 1988. The United States then President Ronald Reagan and the Canadian Prime Minister at the time, Brian Mulroney, decided that to curb declining trade between our two countries, that they would stop all existing tariffs to incline American and Canadian businesses to trade with one another. And the Prime Minister of Canada and our President Ronald Reagan wanted to do this because in Western Europe they had just undone a lot of tariff agreements, and the result was booming trade within Western Europe. Second, I want to talk to you about is the giant oil spill in Florida, Pennsylvania. Over 10,000 tons of oil were spilled onto land and into water. The Monongahela River was inundated with a lot of oil. That oil spilled over two dams and eventually made its way into the Ohio River. All of this information is from an EPA report. This happened the 15th of January. The response time was very slow. It took 2 days for cleanup crew to get on the scene. Ecosystems were very damaged. Groundwater and drinking water were both damaged from southern Pennsylvania all the way into Ohio because the Ohio River carried the oil down. This was a big oil spill for the time, but in comparison to oil spills since, like Exxon Valdez and what happened in the Gulf in the summer of 2011, this was markedly a lot smaller, but it did cause a lot of devastation to areas in Pennsylvania, and it ruined the image of the Ashland Oil Company. The third I want to talk to you about is the United States Supreme Court ruling of Hazelwood versus Kallmeyer. This Supreme Court ruling gives schools the right to limit the free speech of students if that free speech is outside of school curriculum. So there was a newspaper in St. Louis that was written by these high school students, and one of the stories they had put in their newspaper was about teen pregnancy, and the principal of the school didn't think it was appropriate, so he deleted it out of the newspaper and he printed it. And the students were not pleased by this, so they sued the school, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And in a 5-3 verdict, the Supreme Court ruled that a school could limit free speech of students as long as it was not within the school's curriculum, and that a student's free speech could not be infringed upon outside of school, but while regarding in school, the free speech could be infringed upon, and the principals and other educators have the right to do this if they see fit. And all of that information was from the U.S. Court's website. 1988 was not a lot of really big news going on in January. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.